Welcome to Daily English Conversation, your everyday English learning podcast.
Here, we practice real-life English, improve speaking skills, and help you sound confident and natural.
And that whole idea of sounding confident and natural is really what brings us to today's deep dive. We're working from this fantastic source document. It's basically a master blueprint titled 75 Daily English Phrases You Must Know.
Right. And it's important to say who this is for. This isn't really a list for, absolute beginners who are struggling with basic grammar.
No, not at all. This is more of a toolkit, I think, for the learner who's past that, the person who wants to move from just being correct to being comfortable.
Exactly. Comfortable, natural, fluent. The source material is so compelling because it sort of offers a shortcut.
A shortcut, yeah. I like that.
So our mission today is to unpack not just, what these 75 phrases are, but to really dig into the philosophy behind them. Why does this material insist that learning these prepackaged chunks is the best way to get rid of that hesitation?
And to sound genuinely fluent, it's a huge mental shift. And I think it's the one we see successful learners make all the time.
It is. It's about restructuring how you even think about learning a language.
Okay, so let's get into it. The philosophy of learning phrases.
The core idea, the thing that drives this entire list, is this principle of chunking.
Chunking.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at how language is normally taught, it's all about the smallest possible units, right?
Right. Individual words, verb conjugations, grammar rules.
All these tiny little pieces. But here's the thing. Real human speech, especially, casual native speech, it doesn't wait for us to assemble all those little pieces perfectly every single time.
That's such a good point. We don't build every sentence from scratch like we're some kind of grammar machine.
We don't. We use these cognitive shortcuts. So if you're trying to learn English word by word, the mental effort it takes just to produce one simple, fluent sentences, it's immense.
But if you learn, say, how's it going, as one single unit,
then you've basically loaded a complete functional program into your brain. You're not trying to write the code yourself every single time you want to say hello.
I love that analogy, the preloaded program. It really gets at this idea of cognitive load, doesn't it?
It's all about cognitive load. That's precisely where the breakthrough happens. When your brain has that whole sentence structure just preloaded and ready to go, the retrieval time is it's slashed.
It just comes out.
It just comes out. And you bypass that agonizing internal debate, is it the right verb tense? Do I need a preposition here? All of that just disappears.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Does this approach, risk making the learner sound a bit canned, a little robotic?
That's a fair question.
I mean, if everyone just learns the exact same 75 phrases, where's the time for individual expression?
I see what you're saying, but I think the reality is that these 75 phrases, they're the bedrock. They're the absolute scaffolding of daily conversation.
So not the whole house, but the foundation.
Exactly. Think of a house. You need the standard, reliable walls and foundation before you can start, picking out paint colors and furniture.
Okay.
These phrases are those reliable walls. They eliminate all that complex grammatical assembly for things you say all the time. And that means you save your mental energy for when you really need it, for expressing a unique thought or talking about something complex.
So you're not wasting brain power on just saying hello or goodbye.
Precisely. So by using these reliable chunks, you get that first major benefit the source talks about, speaking faster. You're just cutting out the delay.
Right. And that speed, that must directly connect to the second benefit, which is sounding more natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you're translating in your head, I am very tired, even if it's perfectly grammatical, you still sound like you're translating. There's a slight hesitation.
But if you just say, I'm running on fumes.
Then you're communicating with speed, with a natural cadence, and this is key, with cultural resonance.
That cultural fluency, I think that's the real magic here. It's what separates, the student from the conversationalist.
It is. Idioms and phrasal verbs are so frustrating if you try to translate them literally. I mean, imagine trying to explain hit the road to someone who only knows the dictionary definition of hit and road.
They'd be so confused. You want me to punch the asphalt?
Right, but when you learn it as a single functional unit, meaning to leave, it just clicks. It opens up this huge conversational space.
And that space, you're saying, is created by getting rid of the biggest barrier to fluency, which is that constant internal translation.
That is the trap. The source calls it the four-step trap that so many learners fall into.
Which is what? Hear English.
Hear English. Step 2, translate it into your native language. Step 3, formulate your reply in your native language. And then step 4, Translate that reply back into English before you speak.
Wow, just saying that out loud is exhausting.
It's mentally exhausting, and it results in a very noticeable delay.
It's like having dial-up internet in a broadband world. The information gets there, but slowly.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And so the goal of this source material is to give you, and I'm quoting here, ready-made sentences to use instantly.
So the brain skips all those middle steps.
All of them. The stimulus is what's up, and the response is not much. It's instant. Stimulus, response, no translation.
And this ties back to the emotional side of it, which the source keeps mentioning. They want English to feel safe, warm, and comfortable.
And that's not just, a nice fluffy sentiment. When communication is comfortable, you're encouraged to do it more. When it's stressful, what do?
You retreat. You stop talking.
You stop talking. And that's the end of your progress.
I always think of it as building a kind of linguistic safety net. If you have these 75 phrases that you just know are right, that they're natural and reliable, you can step out onto that conversational tightrope with a lot more confidence.
Yes. You're replacing the pressure of, I have to generate perfect grammar on the fly, with the confidence of, I'm going to deploy this tool that I know works.
And from a brain science perspective, that reduction in stress is everything, isn't it?
It is paramount. Stress activates the amygdala, which actually inhibits your higher-level cognitive functions. That includes retrieving language and generating spontaneous speech.
So when you're stressed, your brain literally gets worse at speaking.
It does. But consistent low-pressure use encourages your brain to internalize these structures, moving them from this, conscious, effortful process to something automatic and fluent.
So the first 20 phrases they detail in the source, these are really the foundational pieces of that safe and comfortable environment.
They are the essential tools for, let's call it, social survival.
All right, let's put them under the microscope.
Let's do it.
We're starting with the phrases that are all about social connection, how we greet people, how we respond, and how we talk about seeing them again.
And the first one is an absolute cornerstone of casual English. How's it going?
Right, and the source is very clear on this. This is the casual replacement for the more formal and sometimes a bit stiff. How are you?
It is. The thing with how are you is that it can feel like it demands a real detailed answer, even if the person asking doesn't really want one.
Yeah, it puts a little pressure on you. How's it going? Feels lighter. It's more of an invitation to connect, not a request for a medical update.
And that lightness leads us directly to the response bank they provide, which is so critical.
The 3 key responses, pretty good, not bad, and just a bit busy.
Notice what all 3 of those have in common. They're non-committal, they're generally positive, and most importantly, they are short.
So they let the conversation move on to the real topic.
Immediately. If a learner just memorizes the textbook response, I am fine, thank you, and you, and says it every time, they sound
a robot.
A bit, yeah, but not bad. That's a sound of ease. It signals that you're relaxed in the language.
The source gives that great little example exchange. Emma, how's it going? And she says,
Thinking about lunch, you, and he says, same. I'm starving.
And that's it. The greeting is just the preamble. The real conversation about being hungry starts right after. The phrase is just a mechanism to open the channel.
A perfect way to put it. And once that channel is open, you need a way to close it while signaling that you want to keep it open in the future.
And that's where keep in touch comes in.
Right. It's more than just goodbye. It's a commitment to the relationship. The source uses the context of someone moving away, which shows the emotional weight it can have. It's an active promise to stay connected.
Okay, so from social life, we're moving into the world of work, productivity, and thankfully, ending the day.
Yes, these are non-negotiable for anyone in a professional or even a student environment.
And we start with my personal favorite, call it a day.
The glorious sound of freedom. It's purely idiomatic, a simple statement that just means, we are done working for now.
The key there is the finality of it. It stops the clock.
It does. You could use it for anything. We've reviewed enough spreadsheets. Let's call it a day.
And then there's its less final mid-task cousin, which is take a break.
Right. This is the necessary pause. The source gives that great example of internal self-talk. I've been editing for 3 hours. I need to take a break.
The contrast is so important. One ends the work session, the other just puts it on pause.
Then we have a super functional phrase, run errands. This one is just beautiful because it's a single chunk that covers a whole category of actions.
Right. Small, necessary tasks you do outside the house. Groceries, post office, the bank.
And you don't need to list all three things. You just say, I'm running errands. The source gives us that classic pattern. What are you doing today? Running errands.
So concise, so efficient.
And on the flip side of errands, which are maybe necessary but not always productive, we have get things done.
This is about focus, productivity, achievement.
Yes. When you say, I really need to get things done today, you're signaling a very focused intent to make progress on your tasks.
And then, inevitably, the state that results from trying to get too much done, being on the go.
Right. If you use this phrase, you are basically explaining, often as an apology, why you're tired or haven't replied to an email. Sorry, I've been on the go all week.
It's a shorthand for constant motion. I get it. Okay, next up, logistics, planning, and when things go wrong.
These are the tools for managing time, food, and just general preparedness in daily life.
And we're back to food with grab a bite. I love this one because it's so much more casual than shall we have a meal?
So much more. It implies something quick, probably unplanned, and usually not too expensive.
And the source adds that little layer of human interaction, that playful negotiation.
Right. Want to grab a bite? Sure. But no pizza? Fine. Salad. It shows how we use these phrases not just to transfer information, but to manage our social dynamics.
Okay, what about when you don't have time? The time constraint phrase. In a hurry.
Rushing. And it's almost always paired with an apology, isn't it?
It is. The source wisely includes that social buffer. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. Talk later. You're not just communicating your speed, you're apologizing for the lack of time to talk.
A very important distinction. Then we have the vital phrasal verb pick up. This one is so high utility, it covers everything.
From physically collecting a person, like a kid from school,
to just buying a small item.
Yeah.
Can you pick up milk on the way home? It handles all that domestic coordination so cleanly. Mastering phrasal verbs like this one is a huge leap toward sounding natural.
And for preparing for the worst, we have just in case.
Yes, the phrase of caution and foresight, take an umbrella, just in case. It's almost a cultural staple, this idea of being prepared for possibilities even if they're unlikely.
It reflects a whole mindset of contingency planning.
Or finally, for when the contingency planning fails and something breaks, we have the phrase of universal frustration. Out of order.
Simple, direct, for broken machines. And I love the little conversational note the source adds. Of course it is.
Exactly. It's rarely said in a neutral tone. It almost always implies some level of inconvenience or annoyance.
Okay, now for the fun part. Relaxation, socializing, and starting and stopping things.
Time to relax. The perfect counterbalance to being on the go is, of course, I'm just chilling.
Relaxing, de-stressing, very low effort.
This is a perfect example of how language evolves. It's incredibly casual. If someone asks what you're doing this weekend, saying, I'm just chillin', is a completely normal and clear response.
And the source material had that great suggestion for self-talk. I'm chilling and learning English.
Right, integrating the learning process into that comfortable, relaxed state. It's a great mindset.
Now this next one is tricky. Settle down. The source does a great job here pointing out the two very different meanings.
Which are almost opposites in some ways. The first one is that active command, calm down. Usually said to kids or someone who's really hyper, kids, please settle down.
But the second meaning is completely different. It's life-altering. Start a stable life.
Getting married, buying a house, starting a serious career, that's also settling down.
And if you mix those two up, things can get very awkward.
Very awkward. Asking a young colleague if they're planning to settle down soon when all you mean is relax a bit, well, you might get some strange looks.
So context is everything.
Absolutely. Now, its purely social cousin is hang out. Just casual, unstructured time together, no agenda, and when you recognize a good opportunity, you make the most of it.
Enjoy something fully. Let's make the most of the nice weather.
Exactly.
All right, our last little group in this section is idioms for starting things and connecting with people.
These are all about bridging gaps, whether they're social, professional, or literal.
We start with catch up, which, again, has two distinct functions.
All based on context. The first is social. Reconnect. We haven't talked in ages, let's catch up.
And the second is professional or academic. Get back on track. I missed a week of work, so I have to catch up on my emails.
In both scenarios, there's a gap that needs to be closed. It's just a question of whether that gap is in your email inbox or in your friendship.
For starting an actual journey, we have the very visual idiom, hit the road.
Right. It means to leave, to start traveling. It has a slightly old-school, adventurous feel to it, even if you're just driving to the store.
And for starting a conversation in a new group, we have break the ice.
The phrase so common that we have icebreaker activities at corporate events. It acknowledges that little bit of tension when you start a new social interaction.
And finally, the phrase the source cleverly uses to transition us into the next big section, get the ball rolling.
To start something. The detailed introductory work is done, and now we move into the bulk of the list.
That was a really deep look at those first 20. They feel like the absolute must-have bricks for building your house.
They are. But to furnish the house, to make it truly livable, you need the other 55 phrases that follow.
Right. This next section is huge. It covers everything from business strategy to emotional management.
And this is what separates comfortable daily English from true mastery of complex social interaction. The source provides less individual context for these, but their very inclusion tells you they are high-frequency, high-value tools.
So the pace has to change a bit here. We're not laying bricks anymore. We're, as you said, furnishing the house. We should probably categorize them to see how they function.
A great idea. Let's group them by theme.
Okay, let's start with some really simple rapid-fire communication phrases for acknowledgments and for talking about being tired.
Good place to start.
Mm.
So you have, what's up, which is that super common, very truncated greeting, often answered with, not much.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, long time no see.
They're just functional chunks. Zero grammatical thought required.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But right after that, we see the need for more nuance in how we express tiredness. We already talked about I'm beat.
Yeah, that's your standard casual exhaustion. Just got back from the gym, I'm beat.
Right. But the list gives us more options. You have the softer closure phrases like, let's call it a night. And the more folksy old-fashioned one, let's hit the hay.
Which I always find kind of charming. It has those farming roots, but people still use it, often with a bit of humor.
They do. But then there's the critical distinction, I'm running on fumes. This is so much more intense than just, I'm beat.
Oh, yeah, that's a different level of tired.
It's a metaphor for operating at the absolute limit of your energy reserves. It suggests you're psychologically or physically depleted to a critical stage. A learner who can use that phrase correctly is showing a really advanced understanding of metaphorical language.
Okay, how about phrases for describing ease, difficulty, and maybe denial?
Yes. For describing how complex the task is, the classic for simplicity is it's a piece of cake.
Suggests almost childish ease.
And a social compliment is it's not a big deal. This is so crucial for downplaying a mistake someone else made or minimizing a request you have. It's all about maintaining social harmony.
And on the other end of the spectrum, for something that's incredibly expensive, we use that great exaggeration, cost an arm and a leg.
Right. And it's interesting to ask why the source prioritizes such a dramatic, hyperbolic phrase.
Why do you think?
Because native speakers rarely use dry, literal descriptions for extreme situations. We use colorful, emotional language to convey intensity. Saying something was very expensive is fine.
But saying it cost an arm and a leg communicates the pain of the expense.
Exactly. It captures the emotional resonance, which is a key ingredient of fluency.
Okay, let's move on to a really important category, communication and focus. Managing the flow of a conversation.
The user manual for discussion, if you just need a temporary pause, hold on a second, is the polite, minimal way to do it.
And if you forget something, instead of saying the very direct, I forgot, you can use the softer, more passive, it slipped my mind.
Yes. The phrasing there suggests the memory loss was kind of outside your direct control, which makes it less confrontational. It's a subtle but important difference.
And when you need to signal that you are paying full attention.
You use the powerful descriptive phrase, I'm all ears. It means you have my complete and undivided focus right now.
What about forgetting someone to share a secret or some gossip?
The playful spill the beans. And your point about formality is key here. I wouldn't say spill the beans to my CEO about quarterly projection.
No, but you would to a friend about a new date they went on.
Absolutely. The formality spectrum is critical. Now, for affirming accuracy, we have the very satisfying hit the nail on the head.
I love that visual. Perfect precision.
And then for confirming that everyone understands and agrees, we have the essential on the same page.
It's interesting that both use the preposition on the head, on the page. It's just contact and alignment.
A great observation. To ask for ideas, you'd say, what do you have in mind? And for a partial memory, you'd use, that rings a bell.
That one's so useful for when something is familiar but you can't quite place it.
And finally, for summarizing a complex topic, you use in a nutshell. It signals to your listener, I'm about to give you the essential core of this idea.
Okay, this next category feels huge. It's all the workplace idioms: business, strategy, decision-making.
This is professional survival language. In many office environments, these phrases are not optional. They're part of the standard operating procedure.
We start with a practical one. I'm running late. Simple, apologetic, functional.
And then you get the meeting management phrases. Let's get down to business, which means let's start seriously and let's wrap it up, which means let's finish. They're the verbal cues that manage the structure of any formal meeting.
Now we get into some of the heavier stuff. Throw someone under the bus. This is such a negative, high-stakes phrase. Why is it considered essential daily knowledge?
Because the source is reflecting reality. Workplace politics, difficult situations, they're a part of daily life. You have to be able to understand and maybe even discuss the painful reality of someone saving themselves at the expense of a colleague.
So knowing the phrase is a tool for protection and observation.
It's a reality check in the idiom list. Now, shifting to a more positive, innovative tone, we have think outside the box.
Mandatory for any brainstorming session. And to describe new technology or ideas, you need cutting edge.
And when those cutting-edge ideas fail, you need the language of recovery. Back to the drawing board.
I like that one because it doesn't mean the failure is final. It just means the current approach is done and you have to restart from the beginning.
It frames failure as a logistical step, not a personal defeat. Very useful.
What about phrases for describing intense effort?
The source gives us two very positive ones. Burn the midnight oil for working late into the night, and go the extra mile for doing more than what's required. Both signal real dedication.
And the negative contrast to that is cut corners.
Yes, which means sacrificing quality for speed or cost. It's almost always used as a criticism. A fluent speaker needs to know the difference between admirable hard work, going the extra mile, and questionable shortcuts, cutting corners.
And for making decisions.
We have phrases to simplify things. It's a no-brainer, means the decision is obvious. And for delaying a decision, I'll sleep on it.
Which is such a polite, widely accepted way to postpone a commitment. It signals you're taking it seriously and need to reflect.
And after that reflection, you might come back and finalize the deal with, let's shake on it. It seals the agreement, whether it's a huge business contract or just a promise to split lunch next time.
This whole category is really the linguistic toolkit for navigating the professional world.
It absolutely is.
Okay, our final massive grouping. This covers the messy reality of social life. Opinions, agreement, uncertainty, money, everything else.
Social dynamics. Let's start with a social contract of paying for things. It's on me.
The essential phrase for offering to pay. It's a critical gesture of generosity, and it's so much quicker than saying, I will cover the cost.
So much more gracious. Now, when you're planning something but you want to be flexible, you use, let's play it by ear.
I love that phrase. It just means, let's decide as we go. It's the opposite of a strict schedule, and it conveys a really relaxed, adaptable attitude.
And what if you make a joke and the other person takes it seriously? You need a recovery phrase.
I'm just pulling your leg. Essential for damage control when you're using sarcasm or teasing.
And for showing solidarity when someone is having a hard time, use that visual metaphor. I'm in the same boat. It signifies a shared, difficult experience.
And for deferring a choice to someone else, it's up to you. Clean, simple, and respectful.
For strong agreement, you've got you're spot on, meaning perfectly accurate. For polite disagreement, the very understated, not my cup of tea.
Which is such a gentle way to reject something. You're not saying the thing is bad, just that it's not for you.
And for mutual benefit, we have that's a win-win. Now, what about when you hear some information that sounds a bit doubtful?
You have to take it with a grain of salt. It's a warning to the listener not to believe something completely, a tool for critical thinking.
And to describe something that happens very rarely, you use the evocative once in a blue moon. Again, it's that preference for colorful language over something literal, like very rarely.
Okay, what about phrases related to responsibility?
The ball is in your court. A very clean way to hand over the next action or decision to the other person. It basically says, it's your turn to act now.
And we have to talk about indecision. The source actually highlights this by giving us two versions of the same idea. Sit on the fence and I'm on the fence.
That repetition tells you how common this feeling is in daily life. When you're on the fence, you're stuck between two options, unable to commit.
For when you finally do have to commit to something difficult, you bite the bullet.
It implies strength, and an acceptance of necessary pain or discomfort. It's a heavy-duty phrase.
And for when you've reached your absolute limit with a bad situation.
That's the last straw. This signals the breaking point, the moment a person just can't take anymore. It often comes right before a big, dramatic action.
To encourage someone who's struggling, we have the very empathetic hang in there.
It acknowledges their struggle while also urging them to keep going. And to accept a task, you have the immediate, confident response. I'm on it.
There are so many more. We have phrases for wishing good luck, like broke a leg, especially before a performance.
And for putting off worrying about future problems, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. This is the anti-just-in-case phrase. It's about dealing with problems as they arise, not before.
And finally, a couple for dealing with reality and ambiguity. Let's face it, forces everyone to acknowledge an undeniable and often unpleasant truth.
And for pure uncertainty, when the status of something isn't decided, it's up in the air.
Wow. Going through all 75 of those, you really see the scope the source material has delivered. This isn't just a random list of idioms.
Not at all. It's a complete, functioning linguistic operating system for navigating pretty much every common scenario in daily English-speaking life.
Okay, that was an incredibly intensive analysis. We've covered so much ground. We've talked about the what and the why. So how do we make sure a learner doesn't just look at this massive list and feel completely overwhelmed?
That is the key question. And the source material provides the perfect, low-pressure answer. It addresses that risk of overwhelm head-on. They suggest what they call the power of 5.
The power of 5.
Yes. Just choose 5 phrases, your 5 favorite or the 5 you think you'll use the most, and commit to using only those 5 for now.
That is brilliant because it's measurable, it's achievable, and it completely bypasses that need for perfection.
Exactly. You don't need to worry about throw someone under the bus today if your entire focus is on mastering it's a piece of cake and hang in there.
And that active usage, whether you're just thinking the phrases in your head or typing them in a text message or actually saying them out loud, that's what starts the process of automation, right?
That's it. You're moving that knowledge from a passive list in your memory to an active, ready-to-use mental shortcut.
Which is the whole essence of what the source calls small daily practice, this idea that it's the small, consistent effort that creates that big natural fluency over time.
It is. If you try to cram all 75 phrases in one sitting, your retention will be terrible. But if you use 5 phrases 10 times each day for a week, they start to become hardwired. They become a part of you.
And this all ties back perfectly to the source's final and I think most crucial motivational point.
Which is?
You don't need perfect English. You just need consistent English.
I love that. Consistency reduces fear. And at the end of the day, confidence, not flawless grammar, is the real metric of fluency.
If you can reliably use these 75 natural, ready-made phrases, your communication will be effective. It'll be reliable. And that reliability is what breeds the confidence this whole system was designed to deliver.
It transforms the entire learning experience. It stops being a scary grammar test and starts being an empowering deployment of tools you know will work. You're focusing on success in communication.
Which is the whole point of learning a language in the first place.
Precisely. This list is an invaluable guide.
It really is. A complete toolkit for comfortable, natural, daily English.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's leave you with one final thought to ponder as you're choosing your power of 5 phrases for the week.
It builds on that idea of relaxation versus stability by contrasting 2 of the phrases we looked at. The very common closing phrase, take it easy, and that complex phrasal verb, settle down.
Right. We established that settle down can mean either to calm yourself in the moment or to find that long-term life stability. Take it easy, on the other hand, almost always means to relax or to not exert too much effort right now.
So we want to encourage you to observe how native speakers use these 2 phrases to navigate those 2 different states of being.
Exactly. The state of temporary calm, which is usually signaled by take it easy, versus that search for a permanent life structure, which is the other meaning of settle down.
So pay attention to the context when you hear them. Does someone sound relieved to be able to take it easy for an afternoon? Or are they celebrating the major life achievement of having settled down?
It's just something for you to mull over as you practice your new phrases today.
Thanks for listening.
Make sure to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave your comments.
Your support helps us grow and bring you more daily English lessons.
Take it easy.